More than 4 months after the death of Iran's former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, the Islamic Republic is preparing for what could become one of the largest state funerals in modern history. Millions of mourners are expected to gather across multiple Iranian cities over 6 days of ceremonies. World leaders have been invited, foreign delegations are arriving, and security is expected to be unprecedented. But why is Khamenei's funeral taking place 131 days after his death? Who is expected to attend? Will Western countries send delegations? And will Iran's new Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, finally make his first public appearance? Here's everything you need to know. Iran has announced a carefully choreographed 6-day funeral that will take place across 3 major cities and possibly include religious ceremonies in Iraq. The ceremonies officially begin on July 4th. For 2 days, Khamenei's body will lie in state at Tehran's Grand Mosala, allowing hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of ordinary Iranians to pay their respects. On July 6th, Tehran will witness the main state funeral procession. The coffin will travel through the Iranian capital under extraordinary security as senior clerics, military commanders, government officials, and foreign delegations participate. On July 7th, ceremonies move to the holy city of Qom, one of the world's most important centers of Shiite scholarship. Reports also indicate that religious commemorations may be held in Iraq's holy cities of Najaf and Karbala before the body returns to Iran. Finally, on July 9th, Khamenei will be buried in Mashhad, his hometown, near the revered Imam Reza Shrine, one of Shiite Islam's holiest sites. Perhaps the biggest question surrounding the funeral is why it is taking place more than 4 months after Khamenei's death. Ali Khamenei was killed on February 28, 2026, during the opening hours of US and Israeli strikes on Iran. Normally, Islamic tradition calls for burial within 24 hours whenever possible. Instead, Iran postponed the funeral for 131 days. Officials have never issued a detailed explanation, but security appears to have been the overriding concern. At the time of Khamenei's death, Iran remained at war, and authorities feared further strikes during any mass gathering. Officials also had to prepare security for what they expect could be one of the largest public events in Iran's history. The memory of the deadly crowd crush during Qasem Soleimani's funeral in 2020, which killed dozens of mourners, also influenced planning. Iranian officials say the funeral could attract several million mourners over 6 days. Some officials and state-linked media have suggested attendance could exceed 20 million, although those figures remain projections rather than independently verified estimates. If those numbers materialize, Khamenei's funeral could rival or even surpass the massive funeral of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in 1989, which drew an estimated 10 million people. Authorities are preparing for unprecedented security, transport arrangements, and crowd management across Tehran, Qom, and Mashhad. Iran has invited governments from around the world. Among the confirmed foreign delegations is India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not attend personally, but New Delhi will send a high-level delegation led by Bihar Governor Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain and Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita. Delegations are also expected from countries maintaining close ties with Tehran, including Russia, China, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, Venezuela, and Cuba. Although the level of representation differs from country to country. Iran also expects senior Shiite clerics from Iraq and representatives of regional groups aligned with Tehran. One of the most closely watched questions is whether Europe or NATO countries will participate. So far, there is no official confirmation that any NATO leader, European Commission official, or EU head of government will attend. Most analysts expect Western governments to adopt a lower-profile diplomatic approach. That could mean ambassadors already posted in Tehran or lower-ranking diplomats representing their governments instead of presidents or prime ministers. The reasons are straightforward. Relations between Iran and Western countries have remained deeply strained for decades over sanctions, Iran's nuclear program, regional conflicts, and most recently, the Iran-Israel war. For many Western governments, sending senior political leaders to Khamenei's funeral would carry significant diplomatic and domestic political costs. Perhaps the single biggest mystery surrounding the funeral is whether Iran's new Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, will appear in public. Since succeeding his father, Mojtaba has largely remained out of public view. No major televised speeches, no public rallies, very few official appearances. That has fueled speculation about both his health and the political transition inside Iran. Iranian officials have not confirmed whether Mojtaba will attend the funeral. If he does, it would almost certainly become his most important public appearance since assuming the country's highest office and could serve as a powerful symbol of continuity for the Islamic Republic. Ali Khamenei is survived by several children. His sons include Mojtaba, Mustafa, Masoud, and Maysam Khamenei. He also has two daughters, Boshra and Hoda. Open-source reporting indicates that some extended family members died during the February strikes, but multiple children, including Mojtaba, survived and remain part of Iran's political and religious establishment. Ali Khamenei ruled Iran for nearly 4 decades, shaping the country's domestic politics and regional strategy more than any other figure since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Now, more than 4 months after his death, Iran is preparing not just for a funeral, but for a carefully orchestrated display of national unity, religious symbolism, and political continuity. Over 6 days, millions are expected to gather from Tehran to Mashhad. Foreign delegations will arrive from across Asia, the Middle East, and beyond. Yet, the world's attention may ultimately focus on one man. Will Iran's new Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, finally step into the public spotlight? That moment, perhaps even more than the funeral itself, could shape perceptions of Iran's leadership for years to come.